Map fans, welcome back. Today we are going to look at 3D and widgets in Aspectum. Let's go. Here we are in the Aspectum interface, and currently I've got 5 datasets in here at the moment, and if I go to my maps, I've got 2 maps. So I've got the earthquakes and the counties, and then I've got these datasets. Now Aspectum make it pretty easy to manage your data. I can just add a folder in here. I'm going to call this one earthquakes. And then for my earthquake CSV, I can just move that to my earthquakes folder. Alright, so that just tidies up my data sets a little bit. It allows me to manage what's going on a little more effectively. But let's jump in and see what we can do with widgets and with 3D as well. Let's head on back over to our earthquakes map. So I'll click on maps up here and then just click into my earthquakes. Now we have quite a few earthquakes in here, and currently we're looking at the magnitude, and magnitude is styled by color and also by size. Now we could add a widget to this map as well. So over on the left hand side we have the widgets button. I'll just click on that and then click on add widget. Now from our data, I'm going to select the layer, which will be all week CSV, and from the column, I'm going to select mag. And it's highlighted that we could have a histogram of our magnitudes. And if I just click on that and add that widget in, there we can see a histogram. Pretty easy to have a look at our data and see what's going on there in terms of spread in the histogram. Now there are other widgets available depending on your data type, so you can have a look at those in your own time, and we can also hide this widget panel if we don't want to see it in our map. So I'm just going to go back to layers, and there we're back to the normal view. Now let's check out the 3D capabilities. So I'm just going to go back to the home page and open up my Counties UK layer for this one. Earlier on I went to DEFRA's website and took a digital surface model and a digital terrain model. And from those, I found the building heights for Wakefield. So I'm just going to go to these buildings and zoom into those. And we should see the buildings of Wakefield rendering. Very good. And I just want to show you this attribute. And we can, of course, do the usual pop-up trick. So if I were to click on here, we get the OSM ID, the code, the building. This is the Hepworth Gallery in Wakefield, and then we've got a mean height as well. So that's the height that I worked out using those LiDAR layers from DEFRA. Now in terms of styling, if we wanted to make these buildings extrude, I'll just close down this pop-up, and if I go into the styles, down at the bottom we have a function to enable height. So I'll switch that on. And you can see we immediately pop into a kind of 3D-esque view. Now initially it looks a little strange because these features are being extruded on the code, which is a very high value, but I'll switch that to height mean. And our scale, so we're multiplying by a factor of 3, I think. And what I'd like to use is the absolute heights. So we'll go for values absolute. And if I zoom in down here, here's the Hepworth Gallery in Wakefield. We've also got this show facets, so you can choose to show the faces or not. I would prefer to see the faces, it makes things look a little more solid. And you may need to adjust your opacity. If the opacity is down at around 70%, it can get a little confusing because you can see both the footprint and the roof as well. So this is quite a nice, simple rendering in 3D, and we can do all the panning and zooming capabilities that you would imagine. As always, thank you very much for watching, and please don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment below. And finally, happy mapping.